all nice, all clean. That's it, we're ready to go home. Isn't epoxy easy? Well, no, obviously we got to clean it, right? So with epoxy, we usually need to use a lot of water. Now, many guys will tell you, oh, you need to use hot water. Let's talk about temperature and epoxy, things like that. Typically, epoxy should be used right around the 70-degree range. I mean, that's perfect weather. I think that's what we're outside right now. It's probably about 70 degrees. That's why I'm in the shade. 70 degrees in the shade, perfect temperature for epoxy. You'll get a good pot life out of it. But your pot life, the warmer it gets, say 10 to 15 degrees hotter, the pot life is cut in half. Same thing, 10 or 15 degrees cooler, your pot life is doubled. So every 10 to 15 degrees, your temperature changes. That's going to affect the epoxy, how fast it sets up. So now I want to get some water on this. So we could actually just go through, get some water on this. Something that really works well is a doodle bug pad. Just a little scrub pad like this, a white nylon scrub pad. And it helps to just break down any of the epoxy left on the surface. Now, if you have a big job and you've done this, so now take a look. So now we see all this on the surface here. We can actually go over, we'll do the mosaic as well. I'm going to wipe a little bit of water on the mosaic. We can use the scrub pad, break down any excess epoxy on the surface. Like that. Now is when the problem comes a lot of times. Because what happens is, if you sit here with a sponge, now you're going to try and get here and try and mop and mop and mop and get all this slurry up off of the surface. That's good, but guess what? As soon as you do one pass with the sponge, that sponge is dirty. Now you come back to do it again. Depending on how much slurry you've got left on the top, it's going to take you a while. A squeegee like this, just so invaluable when you have a epoxy. So you can come here, you can take all this excess off. Now you typically would put this into like a dustpan or something like this. We're going to use that as our dustpan here. Same thing here with our mosaic on a 45-degree angle. So here, get that out of the way. Now when you come back, you're not fighting trying to clean every little bit of epoxy because you've squeegeed off 90% of it. Now you come back, a good epoxy float or a sponge works well. Is it perfect? No, but it's pretty close. You can see how much I'm leaving behind. It's actually coming out really well. Nice and clean. Clean water is a must, and enough water. Sometimes people want to use grout when they clean grout. Like a cementitious grout, a little bit of water. That's a mistake with epoxy. When you do that, it tends to drag out of the joints. So there we go. That one looks pretty good to me. Come over, hit the mosaic. Get a little excess off. Make sure it started to dry up a little. 45-degree angle, once again, is a really good angle to pull that so that you don't drag epoxy. If you tend to go in straight lines, you'll tend to get a sponge edge go in and you start to dig out some of those, dig those joints a little bit low. Don't want to do that. So 45 is good.